So I guess this is how the week is going to start. Wake up Monday morning and already a whole bunch of leaks for Transformers Studio Series 86 and some newer images for what's going on in Kingdom are starting to drop from what looks like the factory floors of Vietnam. One of the images here has clearly a Vietnamese run sheet behind it, so it's clearly from the factories of Vietnam. And let's talk about the big elephant in the room here. Oh man, look at this. We got Studio Series 86 Deluxe Kup. And man, he looks really good. He looks really good. I had to bust out my character model sheets to really dress this down and see how well they did it. Obviously, we're looking at something that's heavily mistransformed just for the sake of it, so keep that in mind. But I really appreciate what's going on here because of the paint decos and the proportions and everything that's happening. Again, this isn't going to, match up against your masterpiece third-party, Kup figures that are out there by Fan Toys and stuff. This is going to be a deluxe retail product, and the limitations of that price point and budget that work within that scale. But considering that fact, and you know me, I always talk about when it comes to the budget and the price points and stuff, I'm very impressed with what I see here. The fact that they made the extra effort to color in the little orange on his wrists that were on the original character model back in the day in 1986 from the movie by Flair O'Deary. Nice touch. Autobot logo in the right spot, orange spot on the belt buckle, even the right amount of kibble and proportions for the shoulders, even though it's mistransformed and not plugged in properly here. Very well done. Very, very well done. One criticism, maybe the clear plastic on the front of the hood that makes his chest. You didn't really need to see those details because it was usually like a solid OPEC. But otherwise, I love what I see. I love what I see, and I hope that this is just heavily mistransformed and it'll look even better when we see the alt mode and, of course, the robot mode all balls out and everything like that. Curious what weapons he comes with. That one I'm very curious, too, because he had his little musket weapon, so I'm really curious what they're going to include with this version here. Then, of course, we move on to two figures that we talked about yesterday, but we only saw really blurry images of them. The understanding is those images came from back of packaging that was then cropped and isolated. But we got here, once again, a slightly better look at that of the Voyager scale Studio Series 86 Hot Rod and the Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom, whatever his name is right now. I know some people were telling me different names. I hope those names are confirmed, but the pretty much Fossilizer T-Rex. We'll go into the Hot Rod first, and again, it's heavily mistransformed. It looks like it's in between the alt mode and the robot mode. But one thing that we can take away from this image is the coloring for how they handle the isolation of the legs and stuff looks very well done. Obviously, those leg pieces that are the back of the car are going to be tucked back there somehow that we've seen. We've seen the magic that has already been done with the masterpieces and stuff, so I'm pretty sure a lot of that same kind of engineering ideas will transfer over there. The only other big takeaway here that's kind of cool, they kind of left in the old visor gimmick that he had from the 86 movie where he was able to stand on Lookout Mountain and see the Autobot shuttle that was stolen by the Decepticons. So that little visor gimmick maintained here was in the first masterpiece. The MP09 was in the second masterpiece, the MP28. And so they maintain it here too. So that's a nice little touch that's a little extra there. Didn't have to be there, but it's there, so that's pretty cool that they did that. And finally, let's talk about the Fossilizer. All we could really take away from this is now that we have some really good, clearer images of it, looks very slick. Again, it's I'm almost kind of curious how fragile this toy is going to be because it looks very, thin plastic spindly. And I'm not saying that as a negative. I'm just, it's just a product of the design more than anything else, just because it has to be like a skeleton. It's got to have all those areas that are just gaps and holes and everything like that. And it goes back to what I was saying before, where despite the fact that this looks like the size of a deluxe class figure, because it's a skeleton, because it's a fossilizer, and it's obviously not going to have solid areas and a lot of empty areas, maybe it's something that's a deluxe class figure, but because of pretty much how much plastic is actually put into it, that's how they're able to put it into that core class price point. Again, this is just speculation on my part, but it's just because seeing it attached to the Warpath in that previous image, it really made me wonder, how big are these things? And again, we get a better shot of the mace weapon that I mentioned in the previous segment. I mentioned before how clearly with this fossilizer here, he has a whole bunch of stuff that he breaks apart, and he also looks like he becomes weapons for characters. And one of the weapons that he comes with is a mace weapon that is 100% indicative of that of the old mace weapon that Optimus Primal had in his 1996 Ultra Class Ape Gorilla Optimus Primal toy from Beast Wars. So it looks like we're going to be able to get that mace weapon for your Primal through this, and you can, if you look carefully, it's like it's in the dino skull. It's there just chilling. I wonder what other little secrets are going to be tucked away in some of these fossilizers. Makes me really wonder, are we going to get, again, like I mentioned before, like a gut gun for Cheetor, or maybe like, Dinobot's sword won't be with Dinobot, but it'll be with the fossilizer. That would kind of suck for people who don't want to have to invest in these fossilizers, but that might be the case where if like the budget isn't there 100% for some characters to have the extras, you could throw in some of those accessories on another figure to kind of at least complete it. And of course, then works for Hasbro, because then they'll sell 2 products, so from a business standpoint. But yeah, this is very interesting. Very interesting. New things are learned today from all this stuff, straight from the floors of Vietnam's factory. But that cup, man, I'm really digging what I see here. And again, this is probably going to be a very strong indication of what's going to be going on with this Studio Series 86 line that really still up to this point we know so little about. I mean, we know so little about Kingdom 2, but at least through the listings and stuff and leaked images of art and everything, we know a lot more than what we know, at least with Studio Series 86. Studio Series 86, it's like we just have like, oh, hey, we're going to get a Jazz at some point. We're going to get a Blur at some point. We're going to get some Dinobots at some point in the leader class. But we really don't know anything else about it. So to see Kup is yet another push in the right direction of aesthetically where this is going. And of course, also more importantly, detail-wise and paint-wise and budget-wise, so that we know that we're getting something that could be replacing stuff that we've invested in before. I've talked about this many times with Transformer collectors. You have product that comes around and you invest in that product because you go, wow, like, give best example, like when Titan Returns Kup came out. For a lot of people, it was like, well, there is my best, Kup toy that we could get up to that point. And of course, we had other Kup toys prior to that, but like that was the best version for that price point if you weren't dabbling into third party. And that was it for many people. And now this one's going to come around. It's going to be a deluxe also. And this is going to clearly replace all those Kups of previous. So, obviously, if you're someone who enjoys, the Headmaster gimmick and stuff, you're not going to ditch your Titan Returns Kup. But it does tell you that, like, there's going to be a lot that are going to probably hit the market. And this is going to replace the Kup on most people's, and I use air quotes here, the chug. I don't even like that term, but the Generations, Chug Classic, Universe 2.0, War for Cybertron, whatever you want to call it, Prime Wars Trilogy shelving. He's going to definitely be replacing that. So that's pretty cool. And it's the same thing with the Hot Rod. The Hot Rod is definitely going to be knocking over a lot of people's, although I still really like that Henkei Classics mold. I mean, it's not perfect, but for its time back in 2006, that was a really good mold. Imagine, that mold is now 14 years old. Isn't that crazy? But yeah, this is good stuff. This is really good stuff. Hopefully we get some more official stuff on this. Man, Hasbro. Got to come forward on some of this stuff. You know what I mean? At this point, you got to just throw a press conference. I understand that you have the Hasbro PulseCon that's coming soon. But, I mean, I expect that Hasbro PulseCon to be an absolutely humongous panel just revealing all this stuff, because we're going to learn about it all before no time. So, yeah, let me know what you think about these. Are you excited about Kup? What do you think of what we know now more about Hot Rod? And what do you think about the spindliness of the Fossilizer? It's all very interesting stuff. Let me know what you think. And hopefully this isn't just the end of it. Wake up Monday morning. We get now this after what happened on Sunday morning. Maybe we're going to get our own little Transformer Tuesday. Even though those are done now, maybe we're going to get our own little fandom leak Transformer Tuesday tomorrow.